A special right, advantage, or immunity granted to a particular person. That's the definition of privilege now. Michael Chandler. Why am I missing something? Why is Michael Chandler being given an opportunity to fight for the #1 contendership again? Listen, this fight right here, that it's in talks, by the way, it's not officially confirmed, but this fight right here with Tsarukyan and Chandler, it further amplifies the narrative that like Islam and Ilya are definitely fighting. You know, you can see that they don't really know what to do with the division. So they're like, you know what, Arman Tsarukyan, bro, you're the guy, bro, you're the #1 contender, but what you're gonna do right here is, since you missed up your opportunity, you're gonna go fight Chandler. This might be a punishment, but what this punishment does in turn is rewards Michael Chandler for just losing continuous fights. Like, Michael Chandler's resume is very like peculiar to me. Like, look at this, bro. Shout out Ben Davis, because this tweet made a lot of sense, because it really doesn't make sense, bro. Michael Chandler is given another opportunity to fight for the #1 contendership, and these are his last fights. Look at it. Look at these last fights, bro. These last 5 fights, man. Lost to Charles. Keep in mind, he just lost to Charles, and he looked. Listen, I even thought Chandler had a chance. I thought he was gonna come back explosive, good, but he looked horrible. I think Chandler looked really. He looked weird in this fight, as in like he was kind of backing up the whole time. He always put his back against the fence, and he would throw stupid clopping wide punches that always miss. Before that, lost to Dustin Poirier. But he did beat Tony Ferguson, dude. He beat Tony Ferguson, and that win aged so well, because Tony went on a crazy win streak, dude. It was cowabunga, dude, radical, rock on, all that shit, you know. No, he beat Tony Ferguson, but we know who Tony was. And before that, lost to Gaethje and lost to Charles. Now, this guy is actually fighting for the title. What does that mean? Like, what is, people say Dagestani, yeah, dude, Dagestani privilege, dude. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they're just the most privileged group. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All they do is get privilege. There's nothing more privileged than this. And to make matters worse, Michael Chandler did actually tweet, this is going to be a legit fight, because after these rumors were circulating, Michael Chandler did tweet out a palm tree, which is showing, oh, Miami, after these things were circulating. So it shows that Michael Chandler understands the position he's in. Now, why is he in this position? I don't know. Like, I feel like Dana White and Michael Chandler must have a real good, like, relationship. Like, there's something we're not seeing behind the scenes, because, like, my assumption is Charles is not going to fight Islam. Like, can Charles get a title shot off of beating Michael? Maybe, but I think what they're planning on doing is they're going to do Islam and Ilya, because that's already, people kind of exposed that. Like, it's not going to be that much of a surprise, because we kind of see it coming. And then they're going to make Arman, who's the #1 contender, who's supposed to get the next fight, prove himself against Michael Chandler. Now, what does that mean for Charles? I don't know. I don't know what Charles is going to do. I'm sure they have something lined up. Charles Gaethje, maybe. I know, isn't Gaethje already fighting, though? Okay, Gaethje's fighting Hooker. Like, they're matching up all these, like, top 155ers with each other. It leaves Charles with not much options left. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Dustin Poirier has a fight booked right now. Maybe we're gonna see a rematch. You know, this is showing that the 155 division is kind of in shambles, all because of Arman Tsarukyan. Chat, keep in mind, this all started because Arman Tsarukyan's back hurt. Arman Tsarukyan's back hurt. So he pulled out the fight very last second, and then from that point on, it put Islam in a weird spot where he had to fight Moicano, because he had the longest win streak in the division. Like, that's what had to happen. He smoked Moicano, and now it's like Islam he's in a weird position where he can't fight Arman, because Arman has to be punished. Giving Chandler the punishment's a little weird. Like I said, that just goes back to Chandler being extremely privileged, but that leaves Islam with, like, literally no one left in the division. And could Islam go up? Yes, but then there's a 170-pound champion named Bilal Muhammad, and they just don't want to fight each other. So this is why we're getting matchups like this. I still don't think Chandler makes sense. Like, I feel like they could have done Arman Charles, but they just fought not too long ago, and Arman did beat Charles. You know, so maybe they didn't want to see a quick rematch. Arman and Chandler both haven't fought each other, and Arman has shown interest. People forget this. Arman Tsarukyan, in the build-up of Islam, he actually showed interest in fighting a Chandler, because that's someone he's never fought. That's new blood. So I'm sure that Arman actually said yes to this. I'm sure they were throwing out names to Arman. They heard Michael Chandler, and in Arman's head, this is a win. Like, in Arman's head, he's like, oh wait, you're gonna give me a cookie? Like, you're really just gonna give me an easy win? You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say Chandler's an easy win, but let's be real. Chandler that showed up against Charles, you know, that was one of the most trying to pick my words right here. One of the most underwhelming performances I've ever seen. Like, he had moments. Like, he had Charles hurt. Everyone has Charles hurt, but he had Charles hurt, and then he threw that stupid dumb overhand that, like, took his whole body off the ground. He just fell, then got his back taken. Like, he showed in that fight a lack of endurance but like not really a lack of heart because he will always throw something back. But Arman Tsarukyan isn't no Charles Oliveira. Like Arman's, in my opinion, Arman's a lot better than Charles Oliveira. I know people are gonna get upset about that. You know, when I was saying Arman was gonna beat him in the build-up, people were mad at me. But Arman is a lot better than someone like Chandler. So this is a cookie for Arman. But then again, you're putting Dana White or Hunter, I don't know who's doing it. They're again putting Chandler in a situation where I don't care about my wins. Like, look at his fucking, in the last 5 fights, the only guy you're beating is Tony. You lost to Charles, then lost to Gaethje, then beat Tony. Like, and then you lost to Dustin. The Dustin fight was the number 1 contender fight. Keep in mind, he lost the number 1 contender fight against Dustin Poirier. Cool. Then he lost the number 1 contender fight after that against Charles. So you're probably like, Kenny, how did he go from a number 1 contender fight with Dustin to a number 1 contender fight with Charles? Well, after he lost to Dustin, there was supposed to be that big Conor for like, oh yeah, dude, Conor McGregor, dude, and Chandler, man, give me a cowabunga fight. And then of course, Conor being Conor, that shit just fell apart. Like nothing happened with that fight. So and then the UFC was like, you know what, we feel bad for you, Chandler. You just had a number 1 contender fight with Dustin, but let's give you one more number 1 contender fight with Charles Oliveira. Okay. He goes in there against Charles, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't the most entertaining fight because Charles fought smart like he should have. Like, Chandler's a dangerous guy to fight stupid with, you know what I'm saying? So Chandler kind of like Mario Batista Max, you know, he took him down, he controlled him, did what he had to do. Chandler had some entertaining moments, but let's be real, he was outmatched in that fight to a point where, like, it was like, damn, Chandler, like, he ain't never going to sniff a title shot again. He ain't never going to sniff a title opportunity again. Lo and behold, after losing to Charles, he's back in a number 1 contender fight against the number 1 contender, Arman Tsarukyan. What is this shit, bro? Like, it almost amazes me how impressive. First of all, like, it just, I don't know what to say because it's almost like I'm a little freaked out because, like, I'm like, how is it happening? Is Chandler's like, you know, don't pay me that much UFC, let me just have these number 1 opportunities or something? I don't know, but he, out of everyone in the 155 division who's ranked like decently high, he's like the most undeserving. Like, Dan Hooker would make more sense. Gaethje, if they weren't booked, would make more sense for a number 1 contender. Dustin Poirier, even though he just came off a loss against Islam, that loss against Islam was a more impressive loss than his loss against Charles. And now I'm comparing losses. Yeah, dude, they both lost, Kenny. Yeah, I know they both lost, but at least Dustin in his last fight showed, like, you know, grit. It's not that Chandler didn't show grit against Charles. It's just that Charles isn't no Islam. You know what I'm saying? And Dustin made it difficult. Like, why can't it be Dustin Arman? Dustin hasn't fought Arman. That's a lot more competitive in my head, you know. But instead, you're kind of giving Arman a cookie and just giving Chandler an opportunity. So it's like cookie versus opportunity. Let's be real. Unironically, Chandler being put in these positions, he has nothing to lose. Like, I hope people don't people shouldn't, like, if Chandler loses this fight, bro, he's supposed to. Like, think about it. Like, I don't think anyone's saying, oh, Chandler's gonna wreck him, dude. Yeah, man, Chandler's so much better than Arman, man. It's just gonna be over. He's a real bad man. No one's saying that, dude. Or at least I'm not saying that. Maybe people in my chat are gonna be like, nah, Kenny, Chandler has a chance, dude. Stylistically, honestly, on paper, I was gonna say, like, Chandler has great wrestling. But then after watching the Charles fight and seeing how easy Charles was kind of muscling him and taking him down, I'm like, bro, Charles wrestling is not no Arman Tsarukyans or Gamrot or Islam, you know. So listen, I don't see much path. I don't see a path to victory for Chandler, but that's how you win in the UFC, bro. The better fighters don't always win, chat. If one thing about the UFC has shown you lately, the better fighters can be winning the first round and get knocked out the second. They could be putting in great work and then getting finished later on. You know what I'm saying? That's just how the UFC works now. So honestly, you might think like, oh, it's gonna be just Chandler getting whooped, and it probably is. But just him being put in opportunities like this, it makes the longevity of his career never. This has never happened in the UFC. Like, someone who's been on this kind of skid, like in the last 5 fights, winning 1, getting put in number 1 contender fight. Even Adesanya, bro. Like, Adesanya, who's actually been champion, been established. After he lost to Strickland, he got like a undeserved shot against DDP. However, after he lost to DDP, he kind of had to take some time and reset and go down the rankings against like an Imavov. You know what I'm saying? It's like Izzy. You see how Izzy lost to Imavov? It's almost like Izzy getting another shot after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, let's give Izzy one more number 1 contender fight, because Izzy versus Imavov was kind of number 1 contender. You know what I'm saying? Chandler's the most privileged. Like, I can't name a single fighter more privileged than Chandler, and you can't either. People say Dagestani privilege is when Dagestani's going there and they get rewarded with like a highly ranked guy, but the thing is, before that, the Dagestanis are doing work, or they're undefeated. They have a great resume to them. Chandler's not undefeated. Chandler's not necessarily doing good work before these number 1 contender fights. He's losing. You know, the only good piece of work we had was a Tony Ferguson fight. Gotta be real, chat. This guy is and I have no problem with Michael Chandler. Like, I'm not saying, oh yeah, dude, I hate Michael Chandler, dude. Fuck this dude. I have no problem. He's cool. Like, he's a cool guy. Like, I think he has entertaining fights. He's never in a boring fight. You know, I think the UFC might be rewarding him for being a highlight merchant, bro. Like, he does make the UFC look better in some ways, because like I feel like Chandler does sell pay-per-views, because every time you know it's a Chandler fight, it's gonna be a banger. You know what I'm saying? Even though Charles' fight was lackluster, it wasn't lackluster because of Chandler. It was more lackluster because of Charles fighting smart. And I'm sure Arman is gonna fight smart too. He's gonna wrestle. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna let the ego throw him off a little bit. I do think Chandler's gonna come in. I think Arman's gonna come in there, you know, and probably be smart. But it's just the fact that Chandler is just shaking up the 155 division every day of the week. People are pissed. Moicano's tweeting out like, "How the fuck does this make sense?" Like the whole UFC community is just confused because they're like, "How is this happening again?" And Chandler's just somewhere smiling, doing backflips in the gym, deadlifting, fucking powerlifting, everything, bro. He's a machine. He's a marauder, dude. But it's just that like, yo, you can't marauder max your way into number one contender fights. Like, this makes no sense. If he loses to Arman, what's he gonna go for? Like, where's he gonna go from here? You know what I'm saying? It's honestly, looking at his resume, he's losing to good people. Like, if we're being like subjective right now, like just looking at only him, the people he's losing to, they're not bad. Could Chandler be like a lower ranked person, like a Patty? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think he's really fallen off the block a little bit, but he should just be grateful for this opportunity, being as like, Arman has everything to lose here. And if Arman somehow loses, chat, this is going to be the worst fall from grace I've ever seen in my life, bro. First of all, this guy finally gets an opportunity to go against Islam, and then your back hurts because whatever, you sneeze while cutting weight, you know, and then you lose to Michael Chandler, who gets an undeserved number one contender fight. Where do you go from there? Like, you're done. You're going to get cut. The fact that UFC just cut Rosenstrike, it will let me know that if Arman fails here, he's getting cut, dude. And they're going to bring in Usman Nurmagomedov from Bellator, dude, PFL. But yeah, man, like I said, this fight, it makes no sense. I'm not like, am I mad at the fight? Like, I understand what the UFC is coming from. I feel like the UFC at 155, they're kind of running out of options. Or it looks like, to me at least, they're kind of running out of things to make, or like things to do, because of what Arman did. And this is kind of a punishment for Arman, but it's just like the way that they punish Arman with someone like this. Like, why not the Gamrot rematch? Would the Gamrot rematch not make more sense? I'm not saying Gamrot's great, but Gamrot has in his last 5 is better than Chandler, you know. And the Gamrot's not even like looking great as of lately, but at least that's someone Arman lost to who can maybe avenge, you know. Even the Charles rematch would make more sense, you know. But I guess Arman wants new blood, and he sees the easiest stylistic person who was not booked, who's new blood, is a Michael Chandler. So listen, man, we'll see who wins this fight. Like, the odds are probably gonna be like minus 2,000 Arman, no joke. But you know, if anyone can find a way for Fluke Max, I think, you know, incoming up kick Michael Chandler KO, baby. incoming up kick, man. But I don't know, bro. I actually want to know what other people think about. Like, are you guys mad about this? Because I actually don't know. But I just feel like I don't think I'm actually angry. Like, I'm not like, oh, fuck, dude. But I'm more like, I'm a little surprised. And I'm like, oh, let's see what happens, bro. You know, Arman Tsarukyan, this is what happens when you fail, brother. Next time, brother, make a way to get your face smashed by Islam Makhachev, brother, you know. Come here. Trust me. But that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think about this fight. I think Arman's going to put the beats on him like Dr. Dre. But we're going to have to find out how Michael Chandler comes. Have a good one. And God bless. 2, 3.